corner there. So I hope that you guys can still hear me all right, I think. Good. Yeah, and I see that it's all good. Okay. So I'm going to explain a little bit why I created my website and a little bit about me. So my name is Gerson Ida. I'm a civil engineer. I graduated in Brazil, in the Federal University of Paraná State in 1994. Well, I'm revealing my age because it's been 21, almost 25 years that I graduated. So it's been a long time. I remember when I just graduated and I was looking for jobs, and they were always asking 5 years of experience. And I was asking myself, how can I get experience if nobody hires recent fresh graduates? But now after 25 years, oh Jesus. But it's been really grateful to be a civil engineer. And in 2019, I created my website, www.engineersinaustralia.com. And why did I create this website? Well, I didn't really have anything else to do. So I created a website. It was actually Friday, was Good Friday, just before Easter. I woke up and it was raining. My family were not going to travel. So I decided to create a website. So I created this website to share valuable content and information with other overseas engineers, to assist you guys in the journey to make a dream to come true. Also to give hints for a professional accomplishment in Australia. I've been working in Australia as an engineer since 2006, pretty much, and as a professional engineer since 2008. Also to share the day-to-day of an engineer in Australia, but more importantly, to give you guys, how they say here in Australia, to give you guys a smoother road than mine. Because back in 2005, when I did my validation process, it was very difficult, didn't really have much information on, well, I think Facebook didn't even exist. It was Orkut at that time. Who was part of Orkut at that time? And Orkut was more like entertainment and gossiping and socializing, etc. Facebook today is good that there's a lot of groups with information, but sometimes there's overload of information, and sometimes there are people that probably with the best intentions, they share some information that are not quite correct. And who am I? Apart from being a civil engineer, I've done probably, like you guys did, a lot of post-graduation courses, so you can be different in Brazil and you can get a job as well. So I did my MBA in logistics in the Getúlio Vargas Foundation. I become a chartered professional engineer here in Australia back in 2009. I also became a registered professional engineer of Queensland, RPQ Civil. And then I also did, before coming to Australia, I did some post-graduation courses, planning and construction in Gifu, Japan. I did a graduate certificate in quality and productivity in Japan as well. I did my graduate certificate in project management in France. Very luckily that the professor was married to a Brazilian, so the classes were all in Portuguese. I don't speak French. Here in Australia, I did an advanced diploma in project management, a certificate for in training and assessment, which gave me a lot of help to do my CDR and to write my reports and to write my summary statement. And also, I did many other courses in the workplace. This one, for example, was health and safety leadership. I work as a manager today. But all engineers probably should do some courses related to workplace health and safety, because one, is very important, and two, you do something wrong, you can go to jail. So it's really important to know what you need to do and what you cannot do. I had my qualification recognized in 2006. I actually started my process in 2005, but took me a long time because I didn't know I had to do everything by myself. I didn't really have any extra help, and so I had to. I took a lot of time. Just a hint for those ones watching probably on a mobile. If you kind of put the mobile in horizontal mode, I think the PowerPoint presentation is going to be better. Even those ones in Zoom, if you're using Zoom in the mobile, probably if you rotate to horizontal would be better. I forgot to tell you that. And I also had the pleasure and the honor to be part of the interview panel. I was a member of the interview panel for many CPEng interviews. CPEng is the Chartered Professional Engineer. So now the process has changed a little bit, but in the past, if you were already validated, and if you want to become a Chartered Professional Engineer, which is the next status of an engineer here in Australia, you have to sit to a professional interview. You got to still write your career episodes and CPD and everything else, but you got to sit a professional interview with industry peers, other engineers like myself, and the national assessor with Engineers Australia. And I participated as part of my volunteer work as a professional engineer. I participated in many interviews, and I saw how much engineers they were struggling to accomplish and to be approved in the process, and that was also a motivation for me to share information to make the process much easier for you guys. And since 2008, I work for the Queensland Department of Transport and Main Roads. The department, although it's a public, obviously, service, the department has a commercial arm, and there is a public contractor, construction contractor, and I'm the operations manager of the Brisbane Metropolitan Region branch, where I have about 250 staff working in the branch. So we do construction and maintenance of transport infrastructure, everything related to transport infrastructure, roads, bridges, tunnels, electrical infrastructure, noise barriers, retaining walls, park and rides, everything that you guys can think about, which is very rewarding for me. And that goes to I'm going to play a 35-second audio, and I received this one late last year from one of my mentoring students, Erica. And she got validated in October, and the moment that she got the email from Engineers Australia with the approval letter, she sent me an audio message, and she was crying. I almost cried because of happiness to see her obviously accomplishing a very important step, but more importantly, what allowed her to start her application for a permanent visa here in Australia, which I believe is probably the final objective of most of you guys. So it's just 35 seconds, guys, and I hope that you guys can hear. I will actually just put my headset, just make sure that you guys can hear. Yeah, I can see that. I will try again. Sorry. That one then. Yeah, forgot to click the share sound. Sorry, my bad. So when I got this message, yeah, I thought, because, pretty much 95% of my content that I started since 2019 is free. If you go to my YouTube channel, I've got, I think, more than 180 videos published in my channel. I do live sessions on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube every week on Sunday. Well, tonight I've got another one. And tonight is live session number 84. So if you think about 84 weeks, it's almost 2 years doing, or a year and a half at least, doing live sessions every week. So obviously there's a lot of time involved and sacrifice with my family as well. But when I hear those testimonies, it keeps me motivating to keep going and helping people. Sorry. So what's the objective of this validation process? I'd say that your first objective would be to have this letter. This is my letter, the letter that I received when I was validated back in 21st of June 2006. Nowadays the letter is slightly different. The code as well, because I'm a civil engineer, but currently the code is different. It's not this one anymore. But this is the letter that Engineers Australia pretty much says that your qualification together with your degree is equivalent to a degree here in Australia, and you have been validated. So obviously, this letter is also going to serve if you are going to apply for a visa, a permanent visa, or a sponsor visa, or a temporary visa, whatever. If it is a prerequisite to have your qualification validated, this is the letter that you will be receiving when you are successful in your application. But your quest for professional engineers shouldn't really be finishing here. This is one of the certificates that tells that I am now a chartered professional engineer in Australia, which means the difference between being validated as an engineer, which is the first process, or stage 1 as well, and to be a chartered professional engineer is that as a chartered professional engineer, you pretty much can work autonomously. So you don't really need supervision to work as a professional engineer, especially if you are in Queensland. If you are in Queensland, you gotta also be RPQ, a registered professional engineer, and when you are, you get this card here. I don't know if you guys can see, it's a bit blurred, but this card is from the Board of Professional Engineers in Queensland, and I am registered there, so it means that I can work without supervision and I can provide professional engineering services. Queensland, it's the only state in Australia that if you provide professional engineering services without being registered or without having a direct supervision from RPQ, a registered professional engineer, or if you are not following a prescriptive process, you can actually be prosecuted criminally, and you go to court and you can go to jail. You can, if convicted, you can go to jail. You can pay fines and etc., etc. So it's like those ones from Brazil, you understand, is like our CREA, and you can be prosecuted for exercício legal da profissão. So it's really serious here in Queensland. And New South Wales and Victoria, they're going to start this year their registration process. So going to be really important for you guys to get validated, because it takes at least a few years until you can get registration. So that's why I say that when you get this letter of recognition, your process shouldn't really stop. You need to keep working and try to get your chartered professional engineer. Here in Queensland, when you become a chartered professional engineer or a registered professional engineer with Professionals Australia, which is another organization, you then become eligible to become a registered professional engineer of Queensland. Okay, so why to recognize engineering qualification in Australia? One, to make the dream to come true in working as an engineer in Australia. Some of you may or may not know, but when I arrived here in Australia in 2005, probably like most of you guys, I came as an international student. My wife was studying English. I was studying a diploma of business here in Brisbane, and like everybody else, as much as we brought enough money to stay here 6 months, we came here, we were already a little bit old. I was 34 years of age at that time, so I was already old. So as an older person, we brought money to stay here without having to work anything. But when you are at school and people talk about, you know, I got this job, I'm earning $20 an hour, I work 20 hours a week, all right, 20 hours a week, 4 hours a day, $20. So it's 20 times 4, $80 times 5, $400 a week, $2,000 a month. All right, I can pay my rent, can pay the food, and I can travel around. So myself and my wife got easier. I struggled to get a job, but I got a job as a cleaner. I was cleaning toilets, and those that live in Brisbane is a Suncorp building there with the clock at the top. I was cleaning floor 7 until ground floor, 28 toilets in total. So every day for 4 hours, I became really good in cleaning toilets. And I worked in also frying chips and cleaning toilets in Eka Festival here in Brisbane. I removed chewing gum from carpets in pubs and everything else. Nothing wrong with those jobs. I quite enjoyed a lot because I didn't really have any stress. I didn't really have a lot of responsibility apart from cleaning, leaving the toilets very clean, and was pretty much stress-free. But as an engineer, I had that inside desire to work as an engineer here in Australia because, you know, we all engineers, we studied a lot. 5 years. I studied for 6 years, and I did a lot of post-graduation courses. So I thought, well, I think I can help the engineering profession here in Australia. I did that in Brazil, and I want to do here in Australia. So my dream was really to work as an engineer in Australia. And once I got approved and started working as an engineer, there's some of the pictures of the work that we do. We do infrastructure works, you know, and then contribute to engineering profession. These are some of the electrical works that we do. We do everything. We do street lighting, we do traffic signals, we do those variable message boards on the highways. We're now doing automated vehicle infrastructure. So there's a lot of things that we do. and I'm pretty sure that I am contributing to the engineering profession. Obviously, for personal and professional development, the amount of things that I learned while working as an engineer here in Australia, it's been so good. I've learned so many things, and so many things that I can share with other engineers as well. And obviously, when I got my engineering qualification validated, that's the opportunity to migrate to Australia. I've applied for the independent skilled migration, and it was a prerequisite to get validated to apply for my permanent visa. And I did that. Well, we did that, my wife and myself at that time. We didn't have our daughter. And once we got our permanent visa, that's the beginning of a family transformation, because then, you know, you're here, you don't need to be worried about renewing schools, renewing other visas, etc. And you're close to Southeast Asia, you can travel. That's when we went to Bali, one of the 3 times that we went to Bali. We went to pretty much all countries already in the Southeast Asia and the Pacific as well. So it's the beginning of a family transformation. As much as we love our country, Brazil, but Australia can offer so much to you. Obviously, there are sacrifices and compromises. You're far away from your family, and it's very far to travel to anywhere, apart from obviously Southeast Asia, and very far from your family to come here as well. So, but you got to think about what's best for you. And the best for me is to be able to offer better conditions to grow my daughter up and to look after my family better. That's just a picture of one of the New Year's Eve that we spent on the Gold Coast. That's got a few years back already. My daughter is still little. She's now 13 years old. So we can stay there on the beach. Don't need to be worried about issues, you know, arrastão and other pickpockets and etc. So everybody well behaved, or majority. There's issues everywhere you go, but a majority of people well behaved. So today I'm going to explain the content of the workshop, and also I'm going to talk about procrastination. And if you have a particular question, you can send it in the comments or in the chat here in Zoom, and I will have a little bit of a question and answer sessions as well. So there's the workshop website. I will quickly open the workshop website so you guys can have a look. Let's see if I can. I will share that screen. Hopefully it's going to come up the screen with the website. I need to go back to just a second, guys. Yeah, now I think it's showing. Yeah. So when you go to my website, you go to my website www.engineersinaustralia.com. You go to the menu and then Eng Qual Validation, and here is the website. So the website, the workshop will have the videos that I'm going to release, and then there's going to be the closing webinar next Sunday. And then there's a little brief of the calendar. Those people that are not registered, they can still register in the workshop. And then I'm going to, once the videos are activated, I'm going to place them in here. And the videos that I'm going to send Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, they're going to have two versions. They're going to have the version in Portuguese, and I also recorded the video. Well, I recorded the video in English, but I also recorded in Portuguese because some of my audience, they're still in Brazil, and they told me that their English is not quite good, but they would like to know the information. So I had the extra job to record the videos in Portuguese as well. I've got some audience from Colombia or Spanish-speaking people, but sorry, my Spanish is not good, so I didn't record in Spanish. Those people from India or Nepal, I don't speak those languages, so you have to bear with me in my English. There's some comments there. If you watch the video and if you have a comment on the video, if you have a question, you can place in there. You can actually, I think, log in as your Facebook, and then you can place your question in the comments. And then video number 2, same thing. Video number 3 is going to be the same thing. And then there's going to be the live webinar. This is very important, guys, a Telegram group. I've got a group in Telegram, Engineering Qualification Validation. And if you haven't joined the group yet, it's free. You can join the group. It's very important, so I'm going to send reminders in the Telegram group. I'm going to post some audios and videos, extra videos and extra audios in the group about the validation process. And the good thing about Telegram is like WhatsApp, but Telegram doesn't really have algorithm. So it means that the messages and audios and posts that I send in there, there's no filter. It goes to everybody. Then it's your decision to open and watch or listen. WhatsApp, the WhatsApp group, it's got algorithm. So if you interact with the group, you get the message. If you don't, then you don't get the message. Obviously, when you have a group, let's say a family group with just 5 or 10 people, or even 50 people in your friends, it doesn't really filter. But when you have 256 people, which is the maximum number of people in the group, WhatsApp starts filtering. And also my group in Facebook, Migration Skills Assessment for Engineers Australia. I post a lot of contents in there. So if you want to join the group, while we have the workshop, you can ask questions, you can make comments, and we can have a little bit of a discussion. And I also prepared a survey in SurveyMonkey. So if you have questions, when you open this link, you will get to the SurveyMonkey. It's very simple. It's not going to take more than 2 minutes. You put what sort of engineer are you, and then if you want a response by email, you can put your email. I can send a response in your email, and then you can send me the 3 top questions that you have about engineering qualification validation. And then where are you, and that's it, and finish. So one, it helps me during the workshop, so I can tailor the content to your particular questions, and also it will help me for future live sessions and future videos that I record. And then in the page, there's some testimonies from my validation formula students. They participated in my mentoring program and they got validated, and I recorded interviews with them. So you can watch at your leisure some of the messages from my other students. So I'll go back to the PowerPoint now. There's a question from Carol. She's asking the classification. I need to go back to, sorry, I keep forgetting that I need to change to the Zoom. Where is that? Not PowerPoint, no? Yeah. All right, that's okay. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, classification level has an influence on the RPQ process. Yeah. Yeah, the only impact, Carol, is the CP eng. So when you are a member of Engineers Australia, is MENG, it's a member of Institute of Engineers of Australia. You are a member, but you cannot become RPQ. Once you become CPEng, Chartered Professional Engineer, then you are eligible to register it with the board. So that's the only difference. So I'll go back to the PowerPoint. Where's my PowerPoint presentation there? Yeah, that's there. And I'll share the screen, the PowerPoint. Yeah. All right. So the workshop, we'll have 2 live webinars this morning and next Sunday. The next Sunday is the closing webinar. Live session we have 1 live session on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram tonight. Tuesday, we're going to have 1 interactive Instagram live session, and I'll explain why it's going to be interactive. And then I'm going to send you 3 recorded videos with the content. It's where the real content is going to be. It's going to be almost 1 hour and a half, those 3 videos. So the first video, I think, has got 25 minutes. The second video has 35 minutes. And the third video has another 25 minutes. So I know 25 minutes is a lot of time to watch a video, but the content is really dense and it's not very superficial. Obviously, still, I won't be able to explain everything, because to explain everything, it needs several hours. So let's have a look at the calendar so you guys can program yourself. So today we're having the opening workshop webinar tonight, 8:30 p.m. Brisbane time. Those ones in Brazil is going to be Sunday, 7:30 a.m. Brasilia time. The live session is going to be in my Facebook page, Engineers in Australia, in my profile Instagram, Gerson Ida, or in my YouTube live session. So if you guys not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please visit there and consider subscribing, so it helps my channel to grow and the content to reach more people. And in the live session tonight, I'm going to briefly talk about the workshop, and also I'm going to talk about some of the biggest fears when starting the validation process. A lot of people, they have a lot of fears, they just get stuck. And I'm going to talk some of them about procrastination today. And then tomorrow, Monday, 9 a.m. Brisbane time, I'm going to release the first workshop video. The second video is going on Wednesday. Wednesday the 3rd, the second video, and then at Thursday is going to be the live Instagram session, not Tuesday, sorry. So Thursday, the 4th of February, 8:30 p.m. Instagram live session. I'm going to be answering some questions that I receive about the validation process during the workshop, and I'm going to give a 15-minute free consulting for those ones participating in the live on Instagram session. So pretty much I share the screen with them. They can ask some particular question, they can explain their scenario, and I will be answering on the spot. And then on Friday, I'm going to release the third video. And then on Sunday, 10 a.m., the closing webinar, where I'm going to be reviewing the whole process. I'm going to be answering questions, and I'm going to talk about what you need to do to give a step forward. You guys probably know, some of you know, others not, but a lot of people, they ask me to provide consulting services. I don't provide consulting services. One, because I work full time and work more than probably I should. But the few time the spare time that I have, I dedicate to my family, and also I dedicate to this project. So consulting takes a lot of time, and I cannot commit my time to do something that I cannot deliver. So instead, a lot of people, they ask me to still do something else. So I put together an online mentoring program, which is group mentoring, where it's online. And because it's online and it's a group, then I can dedicate a little bit of time in that. So a lot of people ask if I going to open a new group. Currently, the group is closed. There's no new group happening. But Sunday I'll be probably deciding if I'm going to have or not a new group. So procrastination. So procrastination is one of the worst enemies in your validation journey. And we're going to have a look, what is procrastination? So write in the comments on the chat the answer of this question. Are you a procrastinator? I'll wait a few seconds if you guys are a procrastinator or not. And I'm going to answer that as well. Yeah, that's okay, Everton. You can certainly follow up during the workshop, and then on Sunday, if I open a new group, I will be explaining everything about the mentoring as well. Not today. Today is not the idea. So I will respond in the chat in Zoom if I'm going to put that I am. So I put my response already in the chat that if I am a procrastinator, and I responded that yes, I am actually a professional procrastinator. I procrastinate so much that you will not believe it. So I procrastinate so much that I know that set up this live webinar takes at least 1 hour. No, at least 2 hours to set up. And I woke up 7 a.m. to start setting up. And I thought, well, 3 hours will be enough. But I procrastinated for like 1 hour. And I started to set up at 8. So I pretty much finished 10 a.m. as the time for us to start. So I'm certainly a very good procrastinator. So, and I explained to you guys in beginning 2005 when I started my validation process that took me 8 months to do everything. So why was I stuck? For those ones that don't know what stuck means that you just kind of paralyzed, you froze, and you don't move forward, you don't move backwards. You just froze. So why was I stuck back in 2005? And perhaps some of the reasons that I had back then, it could be some of the reasons that you have now. One, I wasn't sure about the process. I didn't really read the booklet with attention. What booklet, Jerson? That's the Migration Skills Assessment booklet. That's the Engineers Australia booklet, which is going to be your Bible if you are in this validation process. That's the booklet there. You got to make sure that you get the updated version, March 2020. So you got to make sure that you get the updated version. So always get the booklet from the Engineers Australia website. On my website, I got the booklet as well, but I gotta keep updating every time that Engineers Australia, they update the booklet. Marky in Facebook, he said that he procrastinated for a year. Yeah, that's good. So now you stopped procrastination, Marky. Another reason why I was stuck, I wasn't sure how to choose the right experiences for my career episodes. That's one of the biggest issues. A lot of people, they struggle to define the right experience, and I would like to just raise you guys an alert. Choosing the right experience is very critical for your success. Pay attention, because I'm going to repeat. Choosing the right experience, and I'm looking at your eye. Choosing the right experience is very critical to the process. I know a lot of people that they failed. Engineers Australia didn't approve their application because they chose the wrong experience. As much as you can address all competencies with that wrong experience, if it is a wrong experience, you will fail. So, very important, guys. If something that you need to take notes in this webinar is to make sure that you choose the right experiences for your career episodes. And why do I say that? Because I chose very bad experiences, and that's why it took me a lot of time, because I was writing the experiences and, working as a cleaner, kitchen hand, studying 20 hours a week, having leisure with my wife as well, traveling around. The time that I was writing, I wasted a lot of time because I wrote many career episodes, and in the end, when I was checking everything, and I came to a conclusion that was the wrong experience. So I had to pretty much put everything in the bin, rubbish, and start all over again. So that's very frustrating. It was very frustrating because you get demotivated and then you procrastinate more and more and more. So make sure that you choose the right experience. Another reason, I didn't know how to address the competencies. And I was not really confident with my level of English. Just at that point above, I didn't know how to address the competencies. Well, I'm an engineer. I probably think more with the left-hand side of my brain, and trying to match experiences and competencies, try to understand what the competencies are talking about. When you read the competencies there in the booklet, they're not very, how can I say, user-friendly. If you take one here, for example, let's say the first one, PE 1.1 for professional engineers, that's from the booklet. Comprehensive theory-based understanding of the underpinning natural and physical sciences and engineering fundamentals applicable to the engineering discipline. So that's the competency that you gotta demonstrate. And what you gotta do then, you gotta try to go back to your experience, either academic or work experience, and then try to think what experience will match with that competency. So some people probably have a little bit more skills and ability to match experience with those competencies, but myself in 2005, I didn't. So I couldn't really think about an experience that could match with that competency. And then you think, well, I don't really know what experience, I'm not going to start writing. Was when I got my first job as a training consultant that I had to do my certificate 4 in training and assessment, because I had to assess my students' competencies. That's when I learned how to understand what a competency is and how to assess competencies. And that's when the coin dropped. And then I managed to match my experiences with the competencies. And this is one of the reasons why today I can help you guys when, especially with my mentoring program, where I teach how to match experiences with competencies. And also, I was working and studying and didn't really have enough time to dedicate to my CDR. Working 20 hours a week, studying 20 hours a week, and then going around on the weekends, etc. I didn't really have enough time. And I'll talk about time a little bit later. And I was busy doing sightseeing and doing short trips. At the end of the day, Australia was a new place for me and for my wife. In the end, the real reason was that I'm a very good procrastinator. And as I said, even today, I'm really, really good procrastinator. Who is not? If you are not a procrastinator, perhaps you should write a book, and then you'll be very rich, because pretty much majority of people I know, they are procrastinators one way or another. But what is procrastination? Procrastination, according to the definitions, is a mechanism for coping with anxiety associated with starting or completing any task or decision. Or in simple words, putting things off. Yeah, I like that description. And the procrastinator statement, it would be, why do it today if we can always do it tomorrow? Obviously, if you still are within the deadline. But we all think about, and I'll be talking on behalf of Brazilians, because I am a Brazilian. We always live to the last minute. Always live to the last minute. And I'm going to cover about the types of procrastinators, and we'll see that. So the types of procrastination, or procrastinator, I should say. There's the anxious procrastinator, the fun procrastinator, the plenty of time procrastinator, and the perfectionist procrastinator. There's a lot of studies that people did about procrastination. Obviously, I didn't come up with these types. I did my homework, and I researched some papers, and I researched some good coaches, and mainly there's many more types of procrastinators, but these are the types, and I'm going to talk about them, and I'm going to talk about some towards the end, some of the actions that you can take to overcome procrastination. So just bear with me. So, and have a look at, I'm going to explain briefly those types of procrastinator, and think about what type of procrastinator if you are a procrastinator, what type of procrastinator you fit in. Anxious procrastinator. Says that those people who procrastinate a lot are usually bad at managing their time, and often end up scheduling in more work that they can actually do, leaving no time for fun activities or resting. So those people are very anxious. They see a task, I gotta do this. They see another task, I gotta do that. And they don't really know how to say, sorry, but I pretty much flat out, and I'm super busy. Even you ask me to do these other tasks, and you asking me to do a few more tasks. If I do these new tasks, I'll have to delay other ones. Can we negotiate? So the anxious procrastinator, one, doesn't know how to say no, and two, doesn't know how to negotiate deadlines. So that's an anxious procrastinator. In the end, the anxious procrastinator starting accepting a lot of tasks, scheduling a lot of work, and they can't do. And in the end, they ended up not doing anything, and not leaving time for fun activities or resting, and getting really, really stressed and anxious because you committed yourself with a lot of tasks, and the deadline is approaching for those tasks, and then you become anxious because you're not going to be able to complete those tasks. The fun procrastinator would rather be doing anything except that one dreaded task. Dreaded task is the task that's really awful, that's really bad, that task that's really difficult, the task that you're trying to avoid. For example, your CDR application, your validation application. You know, you got to do your CPD, your continuing professional development. You got to write your 3 career episodes, almost 2,500 words each. And then you got to do your summary statement. And then now you got to prepare all your documentation and translate documents. You got to study for your English test and everything else. Oh, no, I'll do something else. And after all, there's so many fun things and exciting things that you could be doing instead. So how can you bear to start that boring project? And then you decided, today I'm going to start my validation process. And then a friend rings you, say, hey, Jerson, tonight you're going to have that poker night that we were talking about. Let's come and play poker. So, and then you think, yeah, but tonight I was going to start writing planning my CDR application. Nah, yeah, it can wait until tomorrow. And then you go and play poker. You ended up losing. And then you think, oh, I should have stayed home, started my validation process, and saved my money. But that's all right. Then there's a plenty of time procrastinator. And this is where people find it difficult to start a project when they know the deadline is a long way off. This type of procrastination is clearly visible in students who often struggle to start an essay earlier than a few days before the deadline. So who never, especially at university, who never left to study or to finish that assignment on the night before the day that you had to hand over that assignment, or the night before of that exam? Who never did that? So I did, and it's still today. And I say that I'm a professional procrastinator because I'm probably not just one type, but many types of those type of procrastinator. And my wife says that all the time. And the perfectionist procrastinator. And perfectionists are always striving for the best, and as such are constantly criticizing their own work. And for some perfectionists, the fear of failing or producing work to a low standard can be so overwhelming they never actually get around to start anything. So the perfectionist procrastinator has like a thinking, well, it's not good enough, so I'm not going to start. When it's perfect, I will start. And then obviously difficult to be always perfect, which means that you will never start. So I have a saying that excellent is enemy of good. So sometimes you try, when you start a project, you try to be excellent, you have to get a perfect template or whatever, but you never do, you never start. Whereas you could start with a good enough template or good enough documentation, and then you can improve over time. And then you actually start, and you're probably actually going to finish. So some strategies to overcome procrastination, and leave in the comments, what sort of procrastinator are you? Are you the anxious procrastinator? Are you the fun procrastinator? Are you the, which one were those? Plenty of time procrastinator or the perfectionist procrastinator? Which one are you? Some of the strategies to overcome procrastination. You need to prioritize your time. Is money a problem? Put together an action plan and establish short goals. So prioritize your time. If we say that we don't have time, it's probably a matter of priority. We can always wake up 1 hour earlier. We can go to bed 1 hour later. We may not check Facebook or Instagram every time the notification bell rings. Or we could share less funny videos in WhatsApp, or watch those funny videos in WhatsApp, or even not watch too many TV series in Netflix. But if your CDR is not your priority, well then you can keep checking your Facebook and Instagram. You can keep spending hours in WhatsApp, or maybe in the, what do you call it, Candy Crush, and also binge watching the TV series in Netflix. So when you say that you don't have time, think about it. It's not about others, it's about yourself. Sometimes when you say, oh, I don't have time, I'm busy, you could be busy doing something that you actually don't need to do. And you actually fooling yourself. Just be honest with you. Yeah, I don't have time because the CDR is not my priority. My priority is to study. My priority is to go out with my friends. My priority is to travel around. My priority is to watch Netflix. So don't, just be honest with yourself. Is money a problem? If money is your objection, why do I say? Because money, you need a little bit of money. You gotta pay for your English test. I don't know how much is the English test today. IELTS, PTE, or TOEFL. Do you know? Do you guys know how much? Is it, what, 100, 200? In my time, I think it was 200 and something IELTS. I'm not sure how much is today, but obviously not for free. You gotta pay for your English test, and you gotta pay the fees for Engineers Australia. You gotta pay for your translation, depending on the amount of translation. You may end up spending a lot of money in translation as well. If you have to improve your English, you may need to save money to pay for an English course. So you end up spending between $2,000, $2,500 perhaps in your validation process. And a good exercise is to list 50 ways you can make or save some money. And try to list 50 ways. If you think that the money is a problem, try to list 50 ways. You can do a garage sale, get things that you don't really use at home and do a garage sale. You can place them in Gumtree or Marketplace in Facebook, eBay. Can start saving some money. Yeah, $10 here, $20 there. You can save some beers. Oh, I'm not going to go out tonight. If you don't go out tonight, you probably save yourself anything between $100 to $300. So that's already probably your English test paid. You can postpone that trip. Now we can't really travel, but here I'm in Brisbane. I can do a trip to Byron Bay, for example, spend a weekend there with my wife and my daughter. Or obviously, if you are single, you can go by yourself. But you can save yourself $400 or $500, even more, if you're not going to that trip. But it's always a matter of priority as well. And the validation process needs dedication and sacrifice. It's not, I said it's a simple process. It is simple, but it's not easy because it needs dedication, it needs compromise, it needs effort, and it needs time. You will spend a lot of time reading, you will spend a lot of time thinking, planning, organizing your thoughts, organizing your documents, writing, rewriting, and yeah, it's time. So if you're not really prepared to prioritize your validation, my advice is don't even start, because you will just get frustrated. You will get caught up with other things that you prioritize more, and you will leave your validation process to the side, and you just get frustrated. So you got to think in your own mind, am I ready to give up many things to do the validation? If yes, go ahead. If you need my support, I will be there. But I've seen so many people, they were really motivated in the beginning, but they forgot to think that they had other priorities. They had family that was sick in Brazil, they had to work to send money, so they couldn't really stop working, or they couldn't even reduce the number of hours that they were working. They had already bought a trip, so the money was committed to that. So their motivation lasted probably just in the beginning, and then they lost motivation, and they never did it, never finished. So think about it. So you need to put together an action plan. So putting together an action plan for your CDR, you need to list the tasks you have to complete. Establish deadlines. Does it look like a project? Yes. Your CDR completion, CDR is a competency demonstration report. That's the pathway that majority of overseas engineers will have to follow. And I explained that in video number 1 tomorrow. The CDR completion can be a very complex project. Luckily, you guys are all very good engineers and very good at project management. So you understand and know all the 10 areas of project management, so you can put an action plan for your CDR and follow that one there. Just don't procrastinate to start your action plan. And the last action, well, there's many more, but I didn't really want to put more, so we could be here forever. Establish short-term goals. If that dreaded task, let's say the CDR application, your validation process, is looking too big to accomplish, you think about writing around 2,000 words for each career episode, is looking impossible to start. And I say because your career episode, not the 3, but each career episode will probably have around 2,000 words. Maximum is 2,500 words. But even 2,000 words is a lot of words. Looks impossible to start. Reading the whole migration skills assessment booklet looks very boring. Yeah, it's got 50 pages. Yeah, look, it is boring to read. So then break those down in smaller chunks of tasks. Perhaps you write the introduction today. So your career episode, I explained that in video number 3. It's got introduction, background, personal engineering experience, and summary statement. So that's the structure of your career episode. But if you think that today you're going to write the introduction paragraph or paragraphs, just 2 paragraphs, probably around 100 words, and that's it. So that's done for today, or today and tomorrow. And then next day, you think about, today I'm going to write background. Background is slightly bigger, but then, all right, instead of writing the whole background, I'm going to write just the first 2 paragraphs of the background. And that's it. If you do that every week, probably in a month, you will write the whole career episode, and that's one done. If you have enough time, plenty of time, then you can write 1 career episode per month. But some people, they write 1 career episode a week. And other people, where the application gets really a priority, and I have one student that she called me saying that she had to renew her visa, and she had 2.5 weeks I think she got a wrong advice from her immigration agent or migration agent. And when she consulted a different migration agent, she just had 2.5 weeks to apply for the validation process. So she called me, and she was lucky that I was right in the middle of a new group of my mentoring. And she watched all the classes and everything. And in 2 weeks, she finished everything. And she applied. She got reference letters, translated all documents, everything. And in 2.5 weeks, she finished everything and she applied and she got validated. So it was a very good effort of her. So those were the strategies to overcome procrastination. And to give you a little bit of more inspiration, perhaps, to overcome procrastination, I took just a short 1 minute 18 seconds of a video from Leila. Leila, she's a civil engineer in Tasmania, and she was validated in January 2020, and she's one of my students of my mentoring as well. So I will see if I can do that. Hopefully it will work. The sound, I think I need to press here to apparently there was no audio in Instagram, so I'm wondering why it didn't have audio. Interesting. It looks like there was something. I'll stop sharing. I'll share again. Perhaps I forgot to. No, it is sharing the audio. Well, there was no audio, but there was the subtitles. So hopefully you managed to read. But her full testimony, it's in the workshop webpage. You can actually go there and watch the full testimony. She talks about her difficulties and her fears during the validation process as well. So conscious of time, I'm probably not going to replay this. But sorry for that. It says Belo Monte Engenharia. I don't know how your name, but yeah, sorry for that. And if you have questions that to be answered during the workshop, as I've mentioned before, if you go to the workshop webpage, there is a place that you can send me your questions and your suggestions. I'll be more than happy to answer those, and I would welcome your participation in that. Suggestions, questions, even themes for future content, you can place in there. And if you haven't joined my Telegram group, you can actually take a picture of this QR code on the screen, and it will take to the Telegram. Obviously, you need to upload, download the app first. And once you download the app, then you can click on the link, which is this QR code, and then you can join my Telegram group. I believe I've got today, I think there are 810 people in the group. And this is one of the important layers, another layer of this workshop. Remember that if you saw my email, the first layer is content, which are the 3 recorded videos that I'm going to send to you guys, the first being tomorrow. The second layer is the layer of community, which is the Telegram group and the Facebook group, because the community means that we've got many more people that have the same objective. So not all of those 810 people are engineers, but majority of them are engineers thinking about validation. So you guys all have the same objective. And when one asks a question, and when I answer a question, then it spreads to everybody. And one question that one have can be the question of somebody else, but that somebody else didn't think about that. So when you see the answer of the question that somebody else asked, it's already answering a question that perhaps you could have had in the future. So that's layer number 2. And layer number 3 is going to be the live sessions. This one and tonight in the 8:30 p.m. And then the Instagram live session, and in the end, in the webinar, closing webinar, where I have direct interaction with you guys. You can ask questions and we can interact. So I'm going to go to the question and answer sessions. If I have any questions, those ones in Zoom, you can actually ask me with your microphone if you're comfortable. If you're not, you can type in the comments. So those ones in Facebook and Instagram, you can send in the comments if you have any question. And while you think about if you have any question or not, I would like to just remind that tonight, 8:30 p.m. Brisbane time, I'm going to have the live session on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And tonight I'm going to talk about how the workshop is going, and also the biggest fears when starting the validation process. And tomorrow morning around 9 a.m. Brisbane time, the first video will be activated. Please check your email inbox. If after probably 9:30, 10 a.m., if you didn't receive my email, check your junk mailbox, because the email could have gone to the junk mailbox. The email will have the link for you to watch video number 1. And video number 1, I'm going to talk about the opportunity for life transformation. What does it mean to become an engineer here in Australia? I'm going to talk about the 5 different pathways that you can have, that overseas engineers have to validate their engineering qualification. I'm going to talk about the 6 CDR steps as well, the competency demonstration report. And I'm going to talk about the CPD as well, the continuing professional development. All right. Sorry, continuing professional development is video number 2. So do you guys have any particular question? Perhaps I'll check the chat. I'll just go back probably to my screen. Just going back to my, I'll stop sharing. And I'll go back to the Zoom meeting. Where's the... It went all blank. No, doesn't like to go to the Zoom meeting. No. Not yet. And I'm back. Yeah, I think I'm back. Yep. All right. Do you guys have any particular question there? Those in Zoom? Yes, I can, Cassidy. It's going to be different. Today I spoke about procrastination. And procrastination is just one of the biggest fears that engineers have when starting the validation process. So I'm going to talk about few more fears. So it's going to be different. Yeah. Probably just a little bit the same. I'm just going to just recap the workshop calendar tonight, because some people attending the live session, especially those ones in Brazil, I don't know if they woke up early. No, they didn't, probably. And I will recap just the calendar tonight, just briefly, and then I'm going to talk about the biggest fears. There's a question here in Facebook. Thanks, Cassidy. There's a question here in Facebook from Michelle. Can I start the process from Brazil or need to be in Australia? That's a very good question, Michelle. Yes, you can start your process from Brazil. You don't really need to be here to validate your engineering qualification. One, because to validate your qualification, you don't need you don't need work experience, and two, you don't need, for example, obviously Australian work experience. You can validate your qualification just with your academic experience in engineering, obviously, and if you have experience working as an engineer in Brazil, depending on what that experience is, you can use them to write your career episodes. But certainly you can do from Brazil. The English tests you can do from Brazil. They're pretty much online tests as well. And then translation, you can contact translators. Obviously you have the authorized translators in Brazil, or you can get an ATI translator here in Australia and send everything by email. The application is online as well, so certainly you can apply from Brazil. All right. Just checking Instagram. Any particular question on Instagram? All good. And Facebook, I think it's all good as well. All right. Well, if I don't really have any other questions, I certainly would like to thank you guys very much for your participation. And sorry for some of the technical glitches. I'll see why that video didn't really play in Instagram and probably didn't play in Facebook as well. But thank you very much, guys, and I hope to see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Brisbane time, on Facebook, my page at Engineers in Australia, or in my Instagram profile at Gerson Ida, or in my YouTube channel. Just search for Gerson Ida, you'll find me there. Thank you very much, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.